actually had no idea what to talk about and what to do about what this video was going to be about. So as I have no material, I just decided to do a story time, and I decided maybe I should talk about my Ouija board experience. And it's actually my only Ouija board experience, because after I did it, I never done it again. Sorry, I just saw a spider and I'm just kind of freaking out. So yeah, so this happened when I was 10 years old, and I actually had no idea about Ouija boards, and maybe I heard about the name, and I was in school, and all of a sudden my classmates were like, oh, do you know about the Ouija board? Well, we should play with the Ouija board. And then I was like, yeah, let's do it. And because I also felt like I needed to do what my classmates said, because I really wanted to belong with them. And then also because I'm really into ghost things. And when I was a child, I was really, I think maybe more, I was really into paranormal, but maybe more. And I actually never thought about consequences, which now I do think about, but during that time I never really thought about it. So because I wanted to do it that day, we didn't have any Ouija board, of course, so I had the great idea of, hey, let's just do it on paper. So I grabbed a piece of paper and I wrote the yes and no, the ABC, the numbers, and I might have written the goodbye. I'm not sure, to be honest, because I asked and it was like, okay, what does it have? And they told me, oh, it have a yes or no. And then, okay, what else has? It has all the alphabet, and it has the numbers. So I just wrote it down on a piece of paper. So I did that while in class, and on the break we went all to a corner and we started the Ouija board. Interesting fact, maybe, it's that I actually had a little note, and on this little notepad, I used to write a lot of things that caught my interest. So I used to write about book names, I used to write about maybe an artist name, a painting, songs, and I was really into history, and so I used to write a lot of things that were a moment, like a very important moment of history. And actually I had a lot of Latin because I was really interested in Latin, so I started to write Latin phrases. A lot of them were more historical, maybe more religious, and other things that I can't remember well, but I had this one. And I used to also draw like runes and any like Celtic symbol, which I didn't know exactly what did it mean, what did it stand for. I just knew it. I was really intrigued, and I used to just write everything. And I had this notepad with me that I took with me during the break, and it had something written that I can't remember if it was in Latin or it was something else. And so I thought I had the great idea of, let's use this. So now the other thing that I need to let you guys know is that our classroom was between two halls. So there was an outside hall and there was an inner hall, so like an inside hall. And it was funny because the inside hall, everyone said that it was haunted. It had like haunted paintings, and it had a huge attic that sometimes it was open and you can see only darkness, but it was really freaky. But yeah, so our classroom was just between this. So our classroom had two doors. So one was a glass door, and that will go into the outside hall, and the other door that was in parallel. So the other door was a wooden door with a window, and that one will lead into the inner hall. Am I saying the right word? Hall, you know, the long. I'm pretty sure. During the break we went to the glass door, but the glass door was always locked, so you couldn't open. So we had to go through the inside to the outside, and we went into that little corner. So there was that door, and then there was the beginning of that hallway. That's a word. And usually no one really will spend time there except us, because it was the outside of our classroom. So we sit there, and there was actually not many kids around. So we will sit in a circle, and I will put the paper, and then we didn't have like a planchette, so I just used a pencil. So I used the pencil and I put it on middle. So the kids were like, okay, so we need to put our fingers in the pencil, and I'm like, no, let's not do it like that. I was like, and that's the weirdest thing, I was so sure of what I was doing. I just, like, I knew what I was doing, but I had no idea. That was my first time with a Ouija board. But, and I never done anything like that, but I was just so sure. So I'm like, no, this is not going to work like that. Like, if we put our fingers, someone will push it, and this is not going to work. So I'm like, let's leave the pencil between the yes and no, and let's wait until it moves. So then we put in, we sat on the circle, and then we started calling the spirits. So like 20 spirits who is around us, blah 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 blah, and nothing happened. But I, all of a sudden, remember my little notepad, and I immediately opened that, and I started reading what I had written in my notepad. So I started reading aloud, and I'm like, okay, now guys, just repeat after me what I'm saying. And then I had everyone repeating whatever the heck I was saying. And then we just waited, and nothing. And all of a sudden, and I'm not lying, I'm really not lying. And all of a sudden, but the pencil slowly moved toward the yes. But it wasn't a huge move like you see in the movies, like that. No, nothing like that. It was actually slowly, like it moved like that. It wasn't huge. It was just like that. But everyone freaked out. Like all of my classmates freaked out. I was like, did you move it? Like, did you blow into it? What did you do? Did you move it with your feet? It was like, no one moved it. It was like, no, I haven't moved it. And everyone was like, I haven't moved it. And then I could tell that actually no one moved it, because no one had the fingers on it, because we decided, or like I decided, that no one was going to touch the pencil, because like that, the only one that could touch the pencil was the ghost. The thing is, everyone was freaking out, and then the bell rang, so we had to go back to class. So the thing is, I just grabbed our Ouija board, and I just like, trash, and just throw it away. And of course I didn't know anything about the rules. And I didn't know about the goodbye. Now I know. But the thing is, I just threw it on the trash, took the pencil with me. That was it. And then we just went back to class. And then everyone was like a little bit, like still freaking out, but it wasn't so much. And the thing is, like, when class starts, at least in my country, and especially on our age, when teacher comes, you stand up, say good morning or good afternoon, and then sit down when the teacher tells you to sit down. So we were all sitting, waiting for the teacher. Teacher comes, then we stand up, and then we greet, and the teacher tells us to sit down. And when that happens, all of a sudden we could hear the bang of someone falling. And then I just looked behind me, and this is the odd thing. A girl, one of the girls that was on our Ouija session, she fell down. But it fell because her seat was all the way in the back. Now, she sat on the last row, so on the last seat of the row. So there was no one behind her. There was no one that could pull the seat of her. So her seat was pulled the back. so it was pretty much touching the wall, and it was weird. So I found it actually quite amusing, and I didn't like the girl too much, so I didn't mind. But anyways, the thing is that later, that was really odd, but later we were in class, and all of a sudden you hear the crash of the window, of the door, the window, the glass door, like someone, it broke, like, and this is the weird thing, it broke like someone threw a stone or something heavy through the outside, and there was no one on the outside, because if there was actually a student or someone throwing a stone or whatever through the door, the teacher could see it immediately, because the hole, it was quite long, and if they were through the stairs you could still see them, and if they went to the inside you could hear it, because our classroom, it was pretty much the length of the hallway, the inner hallway and the outside hallway, so you could feel if someone was running or if someone was walking outside your classroom. So there was no one. The teacher immediately went look through the door, on the glass door, and you could see inside all the glass, the shattered glass. So it was definitely like it was from outside, but there was no one outside. So the teacher gets out of the classroom, goes to the inner hallway to see if there's any student, and there was no one. And the only place that maybe a student or someone, if someone threw it, it was a kitchen. But as a student you don't have access to the kitchen, and the kitchen was always full of stuff. So if there was a student that would try to hide in the kitchen, they couldn't go without passing through the stuff. And because it was quite a small school, all the staff and all the teachers knew all the students pretty much, and because there were a lot of students that's been there for years, and so yeah, there was no one. The teacher couldn't find anyone, and it was so weird. And that's what happened at school. I never associated with our Ouija board session, to be honest, until later, because weird things started to happen at my place. And so then I arrived home, everything was alright, and then on the following day, I think was the weekend, and during the weekend my sister started to clean up, and she was just tidying up a few things and dusting, and we had a really nice lamp, and it was like in a sculpture, and at the top it had like a really nice glass bulb, like a glass circle, glass ball, I don't know, it was really pretty. And then all of a sudden my sister going to, because if you needed to move that lamp you would have to touch the base of the sculpture to be able to move it. So my sister was just going to touch the base of the sculpture, and the light bulb, this really nice glass ball, just breaks out of nowhere. It just explodes on her face. Luckily nothing happened to her, and it was just very unusual. And that's what happened then. And then like more weird things started to happen. My mom was going to the supermarket, and I think that happened on the same weekend. My mom went to the supermarket, and she was taking out the car from the parking and from the inner parking of the house. So you will have to go through the main gate, and the thing is, all of this, she was going back, and all of a sudden we can just hear this huge push of glass shatter. And then I go to the balcony to see what's going on, I don't see really anything, just the car just stop and my mom just getting out of the car and just going to the back of the car to see what happened. And the thing is that this was like my mom's car was like what's the word for camioneta? It's like a 4x4 Explorer, a Ford Explorer 4x4, and the boot, I think, it opened in two ways. It opened like the whole door with the glass, or it will open just the glass. So we will usually just open the glass to put things or getting things out. And the glass opening, I think it was bad. It was completely open. I think that's the best way to say it. It was completely open. So when my mom went going backwards on the car, the window, that glass door, or that window, the back window, it touched the top of the fence. It wasn't a open fence, it was a closed fence. So it's a fence that is the doors, and then it will have like a frame. So it will have like a top frame. So the glass touched the top frame and just smashed it. And yeah, and it completely broke. But it was really weird because my mom is really careful with the car, and my mom will never let that happen. Like, she loves that car. Even until now, she still loves it very much. So that's what happened. And then we had another, I think that was on the following week, that we had, our house was quite big, so it had different ways that you can enter the house. So in total we had like 3 doors that you can enter. So we had a main one which was made of glass, and that one will take you to the first living room. And then we had a second living room, and that had a wooden door. And then we had a second, a second bathroom, but it was more like a laundry room, and that laundry room will have another door. And the incidents started to happen to the first doors, so the glass door and the wooden door of both of the living rooms. So the first thing was that we woke up, went downstairs, and all of a sudden we can see the glass being, I don't know the word for this, but it was broken, but it didn't fall. It was just like, the word in English, I don't know. I know in Spanish it's trizado. So it means that it is like all broke, and if you touch it, it will fall. It will completely smash. So it was really strange because the previous night the door was completely intact, and then on the morning the door had this condition. So we couldn't go out through that door, because if you move the door, because it was a slide door, so if you slide it, then the glass will shatter, and that would mean that maybe it will go inside or could go outside. But we couldn't risk it, just so it didn't fall on top of anyone, and also if it didn't fall on top of the dogs. So we went to the second door, and the second door, the wooden door, it was burnt. So, and this is the weird thing, it was really badly burned on the middle, on the bottom of the door, but through the outside, and you can see a little bit of burned out on the inside. But on the inside you can see just like really faded burnt, like it didn't manage to get into the rest of the door. But the outside, it was black. It was like really burnt out wood, and it was really strange because on the outside there was nothing. There was only the second car. No, it was only the first car, like my mom's car. So there was nothing in between. Like we had like those heaters that you put benzina, petrol on it, and but we will never leave it like that. We will usually leave it not next to the car, but like behind the car, and of course facing the outside, so it didn't face the bricks or didn't face the car, so like facing the nothing, just the air. So it was really strange. So I went to class. My mom, when I came back, my aunt was in the house, and my aunt did like a cleanse, and my mom asked me, what did you do? And I'm like, what? And then my mom is like, your aunt came here, she did a cleansing, and she said that it was like a really bad spirit on the house, like a very negative spirit, and that's what's been causing all these incidents in the house. And my mom is like, what did you do? And I'm like, why do you think that I did something? And my mom is like, and I'm like, I'm sorry, we were playing the Ouija board and this happened. So then after that, my mom was like, do not ever do it again. And my sister like completely freaked out. And yeah, that's pretty much my experience. It's not like so negative, but I found it really weird that me being so, how can I say it? I felt like I knew so well what I was doing, which of course I didn't do. But the weird thing that I kind of remember, it's that I remember saying these things that I wrote, but later I started to say things that I had no idea what I was saying, like another kind of language. So I'm not going to say like I was possessed, because no idea. Maybe I was getting too excited and I just started to say mumble things, who knows. Maybe I created my own language, and yeah, so I'm not going to say like I was possessed. But maybe I was influenced by the spirit to say these things. But the thing after that, nothing really happened. Now that house, it had quite a lot of energy coming and going. It was a really old house. It was, I think, one of the first houses that were built in the city when it started to become more urbanized. So it was a big house. It was really old house. I think it was built on top of another really old house. So we had like a basement, but we never found the basement because the door was somewhere like hidden on the backyard. We had a huge backyard, so, and it was like the myth of the basement. But we had a really huge attic, but we never went to the attic because the house had like a really high roof as well, so you couldn't reach the attic without stairs or something like that, and my mom will never let me. And yeah, and I don't think we had a big ladder either. And we had on the backyard there was another room that it was like it was supposed, I think, because again, I'm just saying, it was a big house, and that room was like the maid's room. So it was outside on the backyard, and it was really dark and quite small, and we used it as like a storage room. We used it like that. It was always really dark, and it had like a weird vibe. My dog will always bark to that room, and she wouldn't dare to really go inside, and then I will go inside and she will come with me, but she always was barking to something. And sometimes through the window, when you were on the backyard, you could see like a shadow thing, but I don't know. But yeah, so the house always had like a strange vibe. And maybe I can tell more things later if you're interested of knowing some of my paranormal experiences in that house. It wasn't like huge, nothing like a poltergeist or anything. I mean, I'm going to be real with my stories. I'm not going to say things that never happened, and I'm not going to dramatize anything. So it's not going to be things like it flew away from here to this corner, or it dragged me down the stairs, or anything like that, because that never happened. So, but if you're interested, I can tell you a few stories of the house, because like I said, it was a really old house and it was a really big house, so the energy kind of fluctuated between rooms. So like the first living room, it had like a really nice kind of energy, but the second living room, it was a little bit more eerie. And then the second bathroom, or the laundry room, it had the same kind of eeriness. And then we had a really long kitchen. It was a really big one, and again, because part of the kitchen will be connected to the laundry area, and then the other part, it will be connected to the living room, to the first living room. So I think it kind of was divided like that. But then the pantry was really scary as well. And then the stairs will have like a little space as well. And my mom made like a nice library, yeah, kind of like a library beneath the stairs, kind of like the Harry Potter room, but full of books and open without doors. But we had this little small tiny door, like storage room underneath the stairs, like at the very end of the stairs. So I never liked that one. Then my room, it also had like a weird vibe, because my room was up top of it was between the second living room and the dining room. The dining room was a really odd place as well. And then my sister's room and my mom's room, because that room was divided, as it had like a two levels. So the top level was my sister's and bottom level was my mom, and she had like a little office there, and she had a kind of like a walk-in closet, but not so much. But it was a really cool, but part of that closet was really creepy as well. And but again, I was a child, so a lot of places that were dark, or maybe a little bit eerie, I would find them creepy. But there were things that indeed happened and were kind of like, I would say, paranormal. And there are other things that I definitely think that I was afraid because I was a kid. So I'm not going to say it was like a haunted place. No, there was some odd maybe activity or maybe energy going on there. Maybe a little bit haunted, maybe, but nothing like, oh, it was completely haunted and like the demons were there. Nah, nothing like that. But yeah, I'm mumbling too much right now, and I don't want to make this too long. And well, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to my story. If you're interested on me telling more of my stories, let me know. And yeah, see you on the next one. Bye.